This is the KTM 300 EXC TPI. You can't stand still in the highly competitive enduro market, and that's something that KTM prides itself in. This is the leader of that segment. I scratch my head every year that KTM bring out a new bike because it's hard to believe how they can make it better. Well, this 2020 model of the 300 EXC TPI is 65% new. But before we get into talking about what's new, let's talk about what makes the KTM easy to live with. Two strokes of old used to mean you had to change the jets in the carburetor, it was mixing fuel, cleaning plugs, all sorts of things like that. Lots of smoke coming out the exhaust pipe. But this thing is in a whole new league. Remember how you used to have to get the big fuel drum, the oil, mix it all up and hope that you've mixed enough for the day's riding? Well, that's all gone. All you need to do is put the neat fuel into the tank and the oil into the oil reservoir and let the bike mix it together at the right ratio for you. When you add that to KTM's revolutionary TPI, transfer port injection system, it really does make for a crisp engine. And that system means that that big drawer of jets that you've got in the toolbox, well, you can throw that away because this bike automatically tunes itself. It's more than just a fuel injection system though, because this system also pumps oil into the throttle body to lubricate the crankshaft barrel and eventually the cylinder bore and the rings. Fuel is squirted into the cylinder via the two injectors in the transfer ports rather than into the inlet port or the head. Having the technology is one thing, but in this segment, these bikes need to perform out on track, and that's something that the KTM excels at. R&D certainly hasn't stood still because this thing bristles with technology from the mudguards. I mean, have a look at that. Lightweight plastic with a backbone makes it strong and lighter at the same time. The rear guard has a similar backbone system to the front, but what's more impressive is how flat it is all the way from the back to the front, which means the rider really can move around on this bike. The seat is also a new construction. It's a little bit softer than it was last year, which means if you are going on a long ride, it's just got that little bit more comfort. I love the way the fuel tank is clear. In an instant, you can see how much fuel's on hand. KTM have redesigned the plastics this year, moving them out of the way, making this bike easier to ride fast. And talking about riding fast, the new chassis this year certainly makes this bike very nimble. It's good on open fire trails and also in the tight stuff. KTM have had a long collaboration with WP now, and on the rear there's the proven PDS system, but up front we've got improved Explore forks. And these deliver more response and handling than last year's model. Talking of collaborations, Brembo are a big friend of all dirt bike riders. We all know how good they work. Well, the 300 EXC has Brembos on the rear and front. Up front, they use a twin piston caliper with a 260mm disc and a 220mm on the back. And when all of those pieces come together as a package, you've got a bike that's light, nimble and quick. Really easy to ride. And that's what makes it so fast out on the trail. KTM have spent the bulk of their development time on the heart of this bike, the frame. They've made it lighter, stronger and more agile at the same time. Other niceties on the 2020 model are the handguards, the really neat switch blocks, the speedo unit and that exhaust. One thing's for sure, two-strokes are certainly making a resurgence, and until you've ridden one, you don't know what you're missing out on. KTM have put a lot of effort into this model to make it the leader in the extreme enduro market. It's compact, it's lightweight, and it's powerful. The KTM 300 EXC TPI is breaking new ground in the extreme enduro market. To find out more about KTM's 300 EXC TPI, visit peterstevens.com.au.